Always reach out to us around the world on the iHeartRadio app. And I read this exchange on Twitter that was kind of interesting, and I wanted to share it with you. The Clemson fans have kind of lost their mind, and I'll explain to you why. There was someone tweeted out something about Trevor Lawrence, and it's interesting that they tweet this stuff out, and basically, I'm going to read you the former tweet, the whole tweet here, but it's kind of a mess. And when I really stop and think about it, it just comes back to show you how spoiled some Clemson fans are. And I want to make sure I give you the entire thing here because it's kind of silly. Let me make sure I've got it here. All right, so here's the tweet. And I'm not going to tell you who it's from, but it just says, so this won't go over well with my fellow Clemson fans. As much as I love TL, most physically talented QB we've ever had, he didn't have that it factor that Watson had. That it doesn't matter the situation. We can still win with X at QB. Watson had it. Joe Burrow has it. Trevor Lawrence didn't. Let's slow down and think about that for a second. So people came to Lawrence's defense, including Chase Bryce, saying, really? I had the privilege to play with Trev for 2 seasons. I watched him work, study, prepare, then show it out on the field. He made it look easy. Sounds like someone is bored. He also was an amazing leader on and off the field. Both have it and displayed it week in and week out, period. He also says, I'm saying this, to say one has it and not the other just doesn't make much sense. Both guys played for 2 national titles. Both willed their teams to win one. Number 1 overall picks have that it factor. And DW4 definitely has that it factor as well. They make people around them better. So when I read this, and of course that comes from Chase Bryce, Jordan McFadden also tweeted some stuff out there. John Simpson said, the internet gives people like this a platform to say meaningless things about people they've never met. Y'all are sad as hell. And he's right. And I think that there's a section of Clemson fans that are out there that I don't want to use I guess I should use the term. They're bandwagon boys. That's basically what they are. They don't remember back to the days when Clemson didn't have a quarterback with the talent of either one of these guys. And it's not putting Trevor Lawrence over Deshaun Watson. It's not that. You can have another guy as your favorite player, but in the end, to say that one has it and the other doesn't, what the hell are you talking about? Can you really sit there and say, you know what? I think that this guy has it and that guy doesn't. Both won national titles. Trevor Lawrence finished like 3rd in the Heisman voting. I mean, what do you want? This guy stared in the teeth of an Alabama defense that had like 7 guys drafted off of it. He beat an Alabama team that had Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, and Jalen Hurts on it. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence doesn't have it. You're out of your mind. And I think there's a section of Clemson fans that are really, they've had such good quarterback play for so long that they're absolutely spoiled. It's like eating prime rib all the time. And you can go back and you can look at, I mean, Taj Boyd was a great quarterback. He didn't get over the hump and get Clemson into the national championship section of the year, but he was still a good quarterback. Say the same thing for, obviously for Deshaun Watson and then Trevor Lawrence. Kelly Bryant was in there for a year, but Clemson has essentially had, 9-10 good years of great quarterbacks? It's a mess. But I bring this up because the tweet was there And the people that liked it and the people that retweeted it means that there's a good section of people that feel that way. You, my friends, are absolutely spoiled. 803-978-1832. There is a section of that Clemson fan base that is really, really spoiled, and it's out there. Jordan, I think, is upset with me online for talking about it. I'm talking about it because it was in my feed, and it just kept popping up. Just kept popping up. Now, I know that I have friends that are Clemson fans that they laugh at stuff like that because they remember back in the days when Clemson didn't have that type of quarterback play and how much of a big deal that was. 803-978-1832. Bible Belt Beauty says Cullen Harper had the it factor. Jordan gets it. Kyle Parker had the it factor. Let's go a little deeper. How about Nealon Green? Did he have the it factor? I mean, come on, man. You read stuff like that, and it's like, man, there's a fan base that is just a little bit spoiled. Just a little bit spoiled. Jay says Trevor will be known as the last Natty winner Clemson ever had. Poor Jay. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown. SEC Dog says everyone except Tater fans know it's back to Clemsoning for Clemson. Okay, sir. Jordan says Woody Dantzler actually had that factor. Yes, but Woody Dantzler didn't have the defense that the defensive side and some of the wide receivers that and running backs too, to be honest, that Lawrence and Watson had. So, yeah. 803-978. Joseph says bring back Rodney Williams. Yeah, okay. Look, I'm not ripping all of Clemson fans. I'm just ripping the ones that retweeted that tweet. What a mess. 803-978-1832. There's also going to be a spring game under the lights. We got the word on that today. South Carolina is going to have their spring game under the lights at Williams-Brice. Wow. Okay. You want to get into that? Go watch the spring game at night? Okay. Why not do something different? I don't really have a problem with that. It might be kind of cool. April 16th is when the, I think it's, what is it? April? I can't remember the date on it. I got to check that. But yeah, spring game under the lights. We could definitely talk about that. Coaches coming and going. We have to talk about this. Here's the interesting thing. Ole Miss, Chris Kiffin, the brother of Lane Kiffin, is leaving the Rebel staff to return to the Cleveland Browns. He's only been there a month. Yeah, and he's already leaving the program. Ta-da! I need my ta-da sound effect. I got to put that on my button bar here. But yeah, I mean, he's like, yeah, I'm out. I've been here a month and I'm gone. Just goes to show you, man, that a lot of these coaches just don't care. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832 is the number to call. Crimson Brave Online says Cade Klubnik is going to be as good as the as Uiagalelei. Okay, well, we'll see. Jordan says Mike Reed apparently got 2 raises in the last month. Dabo don't want to let that man go. Well, at this point, you got to keep those guys on staff. Talking about, of course, assistants. I step back though when I see that, and I'm like, okay. I want to give you something about the Super Bowl too. There's been a lot of talk about the whole quarterback situation with the Super Bowl. And it's, you've got Joe Burrow on one side, went to OSU, got beat out by Dwayne Haskins, had to transfer to LSU, went to LSU, had one of the greatest seasons in college football history. The road he's taken, he goes there and does what he needs to do and wins his way to a national title, top pick in the draft. all kinds of stuff. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. Let's go out to the phones. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, it's Big Barney Ross. We're talking about coaches that don't really care. Now, wouldn't Auburn just benefit from hiring Coach Ed Orgeron there? He can still throw that phrase out there, "Go Tigers." I'll get off here and listen to what you have to say about that hire.
That might be pretty good there, Big Barney Ross. And you're always welcome to call in the program. We appreciate you, sir. Yeah, we know that he could say "Go Tigers" without the bouncing ball. The bouncing ball sound of thing. Follow the bouncing ball. We know that he can say that. So that might be the way to go for him there. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking about with Joe Burrow. Yeah, he dealt with all of that. Had that knee injury last season that basically obviously ended his season, and he came back and led his team to a Super Bowl in his second season. And you can't really take anything away from him for that. But you know what? The other side of the ball is a quarterback that played for the Detroit Lions for 12 seasons. A team that didn't have much and continues to not have much, being the Detroit Lions. Imagine being told, hey, you're going to go play for the Detroit Lions. That's kind of what happened with the guy on the other side of the ball. In addition to playing on probably one of the worst franchises in the country with not the best supporting staff, several different coaches. The guy's also dealt with his wife having issues with being sick. Maybe the true story and the true hero story on that side of the ball is Matt Stafford at Georgia, who's playing for the Rams. Maybe that's the big thing there. Anyway, I thought about that. The guy that's gutted it out 12 years with the Lions. That's like playing for them is just insane. So what a interesting set there with the two quarterbacks. All right, if you want to respond to that, Big Barney Ross has a good point there. Ed Orgeron would fit in perfect at Auburn. He can say "Go Tigers." That's pretty much all you need down there, right? Who knows at this point? People that mock Coach Orgeron a little bit, and he deserves it for some of the stuff that he's done. But remember, at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, Joe Burrow got kind of cracked up a little bit and talked about how Coach Orgeron gave him another chance. So maybe there's that too. Either way, Orgeron might work out at Auburn. Maybe he'd want to go back and stick it to LSU. He'd probably have everything he needed there. Quick break. When we come back, we'll have more for you here on the rundown. If you want to talk about the Clemson quarterback stuff that I was talking about earlier, our Clemson fans spoiled. There's definitely that. Brandon says they're going to sell beer at the spring game for South Carolina. Woo-wee! Let's break out the beer, ladies and gentlemen, at the spring game. Okay. All right. Well, quick break. When we come back, we'll have more for you. This is the rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. Tyson Fomachu. I had to learn how to say that. Or I'm probably mispronouncing it. Jordan will probably correct me. I forgot to take my ADD meds this morning, so I'm taking them now. Yeah, Pumachan. Thank you, Bible Belt. So I got my package in the mail from, Beth says your what meds? My ADD meds, as in I can't keep myself straight. Yep, Jay's right. I've been taking Adderall for a while now. I used to be ashamed of it, but if I don't take it, I'm a goofball. I can't complete anything. No, Gary Patterson has class. He's not going to Auburn. Coastal's baseball team. I wrote some notes on them. Hold on, let me see what I got here. I think they're going to be really good. I think South Carolina is going to be a team that they're going to be South Carolina is going to be a team that's going to have to blossom late. So we'll keep you up to date on that too. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you guys checking out the program. Brothers don't mean anything at Ole Miss, as Chris Kiffin is leaving his brother Lane to go back to the Cleveland Browns. That must be something silly there. I don't know if I'd want to go be with the Cleveland Browns, but okay. We talked a little bit about how the better story as far as the quarterback situation goes is with Matt Stafford at with the LA Rams. If you want to get into that, we can talk about that as well. Other things we can get into today include Arkansas winning last night over Auburn. Auburn's had a bad week, basically. We could definitely talk about that. You know, they have those commercials where they have the guy and it's like Captain Obvious. I'm going to read you a headline, and I automatically think that. I mean, with this headline, it's like, yeah, you don't say doofus. I hear this headline and I read it and I was like, I want to talk about that on the show, but it's just okay. It's just so simple and so silly. You don't even know where to go with it. But the headline reads, and this is from ESPN, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, losing games to lockout would be a disastrous outcome. You don't say. Yeah. Look, there's a good section of folks that I could sit here today and talk about college football and just football in general for the rest of the program, and I could keep the majority of the audience happy with that. I could talk about college football from days gone by, and they would be completely with it. But see, here's this thing. I like baseball. I like the fact that my Atlanta Braves made Rob Manfred look like a complete idiot last season when he had to give them the World Series trophy after he stole the All-Star game from them for something that they couldn't control. Okay? So I like that. It's one of the best storylines of the year. I just enjoy the game of baseball. I enjoy college baseball. But there's going to be a greater section of folks that are going to look at this and say, you know what? If we have locked out games and these guys don't come back, you're going to completely lose them. And then you know what you're going to need? You're going to need another Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa bit to have those guys to bring you back to baseball, even though they may have done some steroids and then now they've been pushed to the side and they're not allowed into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, you'll need something like that to bring people back. And you know what? I can sit here and talk college football all day because I love it too. It's sad that America's pastime has gotten to that. Rob Manfred, losing games to lockout would be a disastrous outcome. Really? Welcome into the Rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob. How you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. I heard you talking about the Braves for a quick second. I wondered if you have any insight on whether if Freddie Freeman is coming back to the Braves or not. And I'll listen off there.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, look, everything that I've read about Freddie Freeman is that Freddie Freeman, I think, wants to be an Atlanta Brave. I think a lot of it comes down to money, and he should be paid. I mean, he's 31, I think. He should get at least that one big contract. I think that he led the team to a World Series. He was the heart and soul of that team. But the New York Yankees need a first baseman. And the New York Yankees have, what's the term that I can use? Bump you money. There you go. I can say that. They can literally, oh, you need this amount of money to come play first base for us? Okay. And he'll do it. I mean, I think he would do it. I mean, if they gave him some astronomical offer, but I think he likes being with the Braves. And I don't think he's going anywhere. And I think that what's eventually going to happen is once we get to a point where you can sign contracts and everything else, it's going to work out that he'll be with the Braves. Just a hunch. Then it wouldn't shock me if he went and played for the Red Sox. You never know. But if you told me, hey, Rob, take your best guess, that's probably the way that I would go. But on that front, the headline I read you, Rob Manfred, losing games to lockout will be a disastrous outcome. Look, you work for the owners, sir. If the owners want to make money, they're going to have to make some adjustments for the players. Because if you don't have the players, nobody's going to pay to see scab players. Nobody cares. The guy that just called me on the phone's talking about Freddie Freeman. Yeah, you go to a Braves game, you want to see Freddie Freeman play. You want to see Ronald Acuna Jr. play. You're not going out there to see guys that were playing in a minor league setting. You don't want to see that. That's what makes the major leagues what they are. You have those great players. And I understand it's the whole millionaires arguing with billionaires. I get that. And you know what? I don't really care about that either. Here's what you need to do. Fix it, because there is a section of folks that watch some baseball games that they will turn away from it quick. And by the way, there's this little thing called the USFL, which is a spring league, which they'll get some viewers, but if they don't have Major League Baseball there and they have the opportunity, I can watch some football games. It's a little bit out of season, but I can watch some football games. If that happens, they're going to tune into that and they may not come back to you. They may watch their college baseball games, which has the quote unquote amateur athletes out there playing. They may watch that and not come back to you. So it's February what? Today is February the 10th. Normally they report to spring training, pitchers and catchers on February 14th. Hitters and all that come in about the 29th. Your first spring training game is, the first week of March. Yeah, if we don't have that, people are going to start to turn from you. And you know what? You're shooting yourself in the foot. You really are. I'm tired of hearing people talking about, the players need this and the owners need that. You know what you need? You need fans in the stands, because in the end, that's where you get your money. People paying for their tickets, people watching the games on TV, and people buying up your merchandise. They're not going to buy it if you have a bunch of replacement players out there. So fix it, Major League Baseball. Losing games to lockout would be a disaster. You think? Don't even talk to me, dude. Go lock yourself in a room with the owners and the guys from the head of the players union and fix it. Justin asked me, Rob, does Bama have any chance of making the NCAA tournament? They're 15-9 right now. I think he's making fun of me. He's talking about how Alabama won a basketball game. Look, they did win. And Arkansas won too. Coach Muss down there, he'll have his team right. They'll make the tournament. They may cause some folks some problems. By the way, the Clemson basketball team plays tonight. I mean, they're not very good. They're really not. I don't even know where to start with them. 3 games in 5 days, and they may not make the tournament. That's just kind of the way that it is. It's pretty sad. More of the rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, Harson's going to be, the media days thing that I'm looking forward to is they need to put Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban together with Lane Kiffin. That needs to happen. The SEC wants some ratings. Oof. In what? In football or baseball? I like him in baseball too, there, Kobe. Clemson's what, 4-8 in ACC games? They are not very good. I think that if you're a young man and you see, responding to Brandon's question there, I think if you're a young man and you see, man, these guys are on fire for an exhibition, that might be a big deal. B. Shady is probably correct. Clemson is not very good. They're just not good. I wish I could come up with something that would be a little bit better for the Clemson fans, but I think they're just done. They're ready for baseball season to get here. Wouldn't surprise me if you won out there, Justin. Alabama's got the players. It's not like they're a bunch of bums. Nate Oates can actually coach. So there's that too. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Out to the phones we go, and welcome into the show. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. How you doing? How are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Are you feeling perturbed today?
Somewhat. What you got?
I read your caption. Clemson fans are silly. I just wanted to let you know that Carolina fans are silly too.
Fair
Go
enough.
Dog.
Fair enough, man. Thank you for calling the program. Yeah, I meant Clemson fans are silly with the whole quarterback situation that we talked about earlier. Some of the comments online, B. Shady says Duke's going to smoke Clemson tonight by 20. He also says, regardless, if Duke only beat them by 2 at home, that was an off night. Duke had a wake-up call against Virginia on Monday. They're going to come out strong like they did against North Carolina. Yeah. It's kind of I wish that I could help out the Clemson folks with something that would make you feel a little bit like, okay, maybe there's some hope, but I'm all out of hope. I don't like to call out for coaches to lose their jobs because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I can tell you the best player for Clemson is PJ Hall, and PJ Hall is dealing with some foot issues. And if you're having some foot issues, it's kind of hard to play basketball. Just saying. So he's kind of hobbled is the term that I've heard. I don't know how well he's going to be tonight. For Clemson to win, he's going to have a game like he had the other night against North Carolina, where he steps out and shoots the three and has 5 blocks and 27 points, whatever it is. He's going to need that kind of game. And if he doesn't have it, it's going to be a mess. And let's be honest, Duke is Duke. This is Coach K's last team. That Duke on the front, man, really means something. And they're not going to be intimidated coming into Littlejohn. They're not. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. Out to the phones we go. And welcome into the program. Good afternoon.
Rob Sam.
Hello, how are you?
Good, man. What's up, brother?
How you been?
Been doing okay.
What you got for the show?
Oh, I don't have much at all. Brett, you were talking about Clemson basketball team, and
Yeah. Do they have any hope tonight, sir?
zero.
Okay. No hope.
They
Got
don't
it.
even need. They don't even need to show. Why dress out? Why play the game?
I don't think you should forfeit the game, but I mean, let's put our orange colored glasses on for a moment. Let's pretend that we're Lawton Swan and we're the ultimate Clemson fans for a second. How does Clemson win tonight without Duke coming down with the COVID? I think the best way is they've got to shoot 35% from three-point land, 25 points from PJ Hall, and they've got to win the turnover battle. There you go. That's how they win tonight.
Okay, so TJ Hall, is he the highest?
PJ, sir, PJ. I don't want his mama calling.
Okay, PJ, is he the highest average scorer on the team?
I think he's the best player on the team. I don't know if he's got the highest average or not. I'd have to, check that, but he's the best player on the team.
Okay, well, I'll sum it up this way. As long as Brad Brunell is, I am not interested. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for calling, sir. I appreciate it.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you some sarcasm. Why don't you just go ahead and give him a contract that lasts forever and give him $1 trillion?
Thank you for calling the program, sir. You have a great day. All right, bye-bye. Yeah, a little mocking there. Jordan helping me out. Yeah, he is the leading scorer. He says Duke's probably should have lost to Clemson and Cameron. Look, it sounds like every time you go into Cameron, I don't care what anybody says, Duke gets calls in Cameron against everyone. They shoot more free throws. The refs are mystified by that Duke jersey. That's why Coach K loses his mind on the road. Don't believe me? Go and watch him coach anywhere. Clemson, wherever. And he's losing his mind because he doesn't get the calls that he gets at home. They get a ton of calls at Duke. I cannot be persuaded otherwise. I mean, I've seen games where the slightest of contact fouls are called. Offensive fouls are called that aren't offensive fouls. I mean, it's a mess. And that's why Coach K loses it on the road, because he doesn't get it. But you can definitely make the argument in that matchup up at Durham that Clemson had an opportunity to win. The big thing now, though, is they've got, 3 games in 5 days. Here's the thing with Clemson. If they come out tonight and they look like they actually care, I mean, actually care, okay? Like Brad Brownell still got him, and they lose the game, maybe there's some hope for the rest of the season. I don't know. But they could come out after the gut-wrenching loss on Tuesday night, and they could, let's just play out the season. Let's just get out of here. It's kind of a waste. PJ Hall is a good player and would start on a lot of teams. It seems like he just needs a little bit more. The Clemson offense every season with Brad Brownell, and this is a fair criticism. Every game, they've got about a 4 to 6 minute stretch where they can't score a basket. They just can't do it. I mean, they're missing layups. It's like there's literally a lid put on the basket, and I don't know how you can get around that. I don't know if it's conditioning. I don't know what it is. If it's not having the right combination of players on the floor. But every single game, there's about a 4 minute stretch where Clemson just doesn't play, doesn't score, and it ends up getting them every game. 803-978-1832. Brandon says, I'm too harsh on Coach Brownell. Everything I've said today is true. They have spurts where they just don't score. 4 minutes at a time. Seriously, it happens a lot. All right, we'll take your calls on that at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Brandon says there was a big trade today in the NBA. They traded James Harden to the Nets to the 76ers for Ben Simmons. I wouldn't have either one of those guys on my team, but yeah. B. Shady says Clemson has to play their best at Duke's worst. That's what happened the first game, and they lost. It's not going to happen again. Yeah, he's pretty much correct. What I said has to happen will have to happen. PJ Hall needs 25 and 10. They've got to shoot 35 to 40% from three-point land, and they've got to win the turnover battle. They do those three things, they can have a shot. Jordan says, Brownell's been there a decade and made the tourney only 3 times. It's fair to expect more from the basketball program. Yeah. And I know the adage is be one of the 68. And I know that it's like, okay, there are 68 teams, but there's 32 conference bids. So in all actuality, you're looking at 36 bids overall. I don't think it's that far-fetched to say, you know what, can we be in the top 36 in the country? That's not that far-fetched. You don't have to be one, but be number 30. Be number 30. You know, have enough where you can finish in the middle of the conference. Same way for South Carolina, too. South Carolina's got, really great facilities. Same thing for Clemson. They've dumped a bunch of money into Littlejohn. Let's take another call here. Oh, welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon. Whoa. I don't know what that is. Anyway, call back. 803-978-1832. We're going to take a quick break and we come back. We can talk more about that. And is it that far-fetched to think that both Clemson and South Carolina every other year should be making the tournament? Finishing basically in the top 36. It's not that far-fetched. We'd love to take your calls, 803-978-1832. Are Clemson fans spoiled with the quarterbacks they've had? We talked about that earlier. This is the rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yes, Shady, you're right. Didn't want to bring that up, trying to rub salt on the wound there. You know, I get tired of people saying, well, they can't get good players there. Really? Really? I can tell you, I don't know who's going to win the national title. I can tell you it's not going to be Auburn. They are, the way that they play, I think is good enough to keep you good for a while, but in the end, it's not going to matter. If you had to ask me for the, let's see here, for basketball, it's a little bit different for me. I've got several different teams that I'm looking at that I kind of like, but I like Purdue. I like Arizona. Kentucky looks pretty good. Duke should be right there. And I kind of like Texas Tech and Baylor. So there you go. It's kind of vanilla. Justin says Michelob Ultra. That's funny. I don't know which way to go with all that, man. College basketball is it's just been kind of flat, to be honest. I'll bring Terrence Oglesby on the show. He may get me in the mood for it. Eight zero 978-1832 803-978-1832 is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Someone asked me who I liked in the national win the national championship in basketball, and I gave him several teams. Tyrese is saying Duke is going back to the national championship. I can understand that. Jordan with a good comment about the Clemson team says, I don't need Clemson basketball to be great. I just want a consistent product that makes the dance more often than it doesn't. That should be more than fair considering the success of other sports. Men's basketball is kind of I know they made the tournament last year, but it's almost like it's a black eye for the Clemson sports program. It really is. You think they're an ACC team. They've got great facilities. They're able to get big-time football athletes to come there. You should be able to get some basketball players too. Not so much. Same thing can be said for South Carolina. They've got great facilities. They've got a good coach. I know people get upset with me for saying this. I still think Frank Martin's a great coach. Great coach. 803-978-1832. Yeah, and Jordan's right. The Sweet 16 team that Brad Brownell had, that was his best team. And he had some guys that are still playing in the pros across overseas. That was the team Amir Sims, I think, was a freshman on. I mean, he had some good players. And that's they just weren't able to. I mean, going to the Sweet 16 is a big deal. Being consistent wasn't there. Justin says Bengals will win the Super Bowl this weekend. Yeah, I'm trying to narrow down my pick, and I know the easy thing to do is to look at the offense and say, okay, this is going to happen here and this is going to happen that way. But I'm a defensive guy, man, and I think that the LA Rams have the best defensive lineman in the league in Aaron Donald, and I think they have the best cornerback in the league in Jalen Ramsey. And I think they've got Von Miller there too. And I think that they are a problem. I think that Joe Burrow's the Bengals have kind of played out of their shoes a little bit. And here on Thursday, it may change tomorrow. LaVon Kirkland comes back in with me tomorrow, and he's got numbers and stuff we're going to look at for the Super Bowl. But for me right now, the way that I feel about it, if our state wasn't so stupid and we can actually go bet like other states do, yeah, shout out to the folks that shot that down. If I could go to a betting kiosk like every other, pretty much the majority of the other states in the country, if I had to go to a kiosk today and was placing a bet, I would probably I'd probably go with the Rams. I think they'd cover. Jordan's right. Gabe DeVoe, Marquise Reed, Elijah Thomas, Shelton Mitchell, Dante Grantham. That was a very good team. You got to give Brownell credit for that. Those were all his guys. All his guys. But you know what? Here's the thing with that. And Jordan, this is the thing with Brad Brownell. What do all those players have in common? Or the majority of them. Marquise Reed was a guy that was a transfer guy. Elijah Thomas came in from Texas A&M? And Shelton Mitchell was at Vanderbilt. Brownell literally plays the transfer portal like he tries to play it like a heavyweight. And when he got those guys together, the only one he recruited out of high school, I believe, was Gabe DeVoe. I can't remember Dante Grantham if he may have been one other guy that came out of high school with him. But those other guys, he brought them in, which I guess he looks at each team from like a short-term syndrome, basically. Maybe that's the problem there. B Bean says weed will be legal in South Carolina before betting. You're probably right. We've talked about that before, and I've had actual state representatives on the show that put together our betting bill. I say it's our betting bill. It's not really our betting bill. It was basically brought into the chambers, and it was laughed out of there by a bunch of people who think that Jesus will get upset if people bet. Here, let me help you out with this. He doesn't care. He'll forgive you the next day. Sorry. That's why we don't have betting in our state, because there's a lot of people that say, oh, Jesus doesn't want us betting. And once again, love Jesus, all that's great, but in the end, we should be able to go and bet. We should be able to go and drive through South Carolina's campus down there and not run through potholes that literally will bottom out your car. We could have the DOT money to fix that if we'd let people bet, because people are going to bet anyway. You just don't have the capability to tax it. This is the way that you could do it. You could probably eliminate the property tax if you let gambling come to South Carolina with the beaches that we have here and the mountains as well. Put casinos up in both spots. We could literally be like Florida with no property tax, but that doesn't make any sense. Let's not go there. Nope. 803-978-1832. Blind Squirrel says we all love Jesus. Jesus doesn't care if we bet on the Super Bowl. I don't believe he does. Brandon says South Carolina's best team was Thornwell, PJ Dozier, Dwayne Otis, Chris Silva, and Mike Kotzar. Yeah, that was a great team. They went to the Final Four. Gamecock fans will tell you, I think Thornwell had the flu. They might have beaten Gonzaga that game. LW says, don't move to South Carolina. Not if you want to place bets. Not if you want to place bets. Papa George here says, makes sense about the casino. I'm not even talking about the casinos. I'm willing to give that to the pulpit. All right, look, we're not going to have people over here in a casino. We're just going to have where people can bet on the Super Bowl or bet on the Gamecock game or the Clemson game or whatever. Just have it set up where that can happen. We don't have to have the cards and all that, although it would make a lot of sense to have that. But if we have to give something away to get something back, okay, we won't have cards here, but you know what we will have? We'll have the ability for you to bet. There you go. It's simple. I know that people get I've had people get upset when I make that reference, but that's just the way that it is. Other states are making they're making a lot more money. I have friends that are going up to North Carolina to Harris Cherokee spot up there. And they're going to go up there and knock some stuff out and gamble and bet on games up there. They're going to leave here and drive, 3 hours, however long it is, to get there. We could have that money here. Why is that? Just need to get with our elected folks. And by the way, people, this is not a Republican Democrat thing. It's not. This is just a people thing. Republicans and Democrats, they both bet. They both do it. It's just the way that it is. Jordan says Cherokee is a lot of fun. Yeah, but a lot of our money is going up there that we could have tax money here. Anyway. There you go. There's my spiel on sports betting. I will not be moved on that. Tomorrow on the program, we're going to get into the numbers on the Super Bowl as my buddy Levon Kirkland comes back. And I love having him in because he knows his football, man. He really does. Someone else who knows, he knows some football too, is my buddy Lawton Swan from Clemson Sports Talk. He's the czar of Clemson Sports.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Follow him on Twitter. He's at Clemson Sports. Yesterday, his birthday was the other day. Yeah, Lawton Swan turned 55. Congratulations, Lawton. I mean, he told me the story about when he worked a summer making soda machines. Look how far you've come, man, in your 55 years. There you go. Anyway, be sure to follow his show, Clemson Sports Talk, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. I could read Lee's comment online, but you should be watching online. Go and watch the show on the Fox Sports Radio Facebook page. Can't read that comment here, but it's actually worthwhile. Go and check that out. More of the rundown coming up tomorrow. They'll give me another hour tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. I almost read that live, Lee. Oh, my goodness. That's funny. Justin says, I'm against people that is against gambling. It doesn't make any sense, man. Let them bet. I should run for legislature on that. I'm going to bring sports gambling to South Carolina. That would make a lot of sense. Appreciate you guys. Super Bowl talk tomorrow. We'll talk to you later on.